Hello, this is Kara. Welcome back to Celadon Glazing. This is part 2. So I put the first coat on this in part 1. You can see like there's a little hole where the glaze didn't sink all the way down. I'm going to need to make sure that I get glaze all the way in there before I put the second coat on. So, which leads me to the first question that I had from part 1. Rebecca Vigdor, I'm sorry if I mispronounce a name, I understand, asked, is there no need to let layers dry between coats? And yes, there is a need to let layers dry if you're brushing glazes. However, that was just one coat that I applied there. I know it seems like it's 2 coats because I kind of go back over, but that is one coat. Once the glaze has dried, I will apply the second coat. So until the glaze is dried, you may be going over areas, but you're not applying a second coat. It's still one coat. Now, the Celadons, you can do 2 coats for a slightly more transparent effect. They work just fine with 2 coats. They'll just be a little bit lighter. 3 coats will give you a better color response and will also give you usually a more even coverage. So this is coat 2. And for the inside, it's kind of tricky to get insides really even. But that's that kind of buttering technique. So the next question is that Joan Gray asked if it's okay to glaze the inside and the outside at the same time. And generally, yes, it's fine. If your wear is extremely thin, it may be difficult because it may just make it too wet to get a really good application. Really, that glaze just really doesn't want to go into that hole, so I will show you guys a trick in a little bit. So yes, I glaze the inside and outside at the same time unless I'm using different glazes because I don't want to contaminate the glaze. Barb Brown was saying that Rainforest does not come out even for her, and how that is very frustrating, and I can totally see that being frustrating. I'm not really sure why it should be giving you a problem. You can try using perpendicular strokes. That may help. You can also try thinning the glaze with a little bit of water. I don't suggest thinning it very much. So here's coat 2. Frank Hott was actually asking about this cup, and that blue glaze only comes up to here, and that is SM29 Blue Green. Satin Matte 29 Blue Green. Isn't that a beautiful color? It's really nice also if you mix it with a little bit of white. It makes an absolutely spectacular turquoise blue. One of my favorites. Rachel Smith was asking about the pour and spread method, if that would be one coat. You can kind of consider that one coat depending on how you're spreading it and applying it. It might take some practice to get the habit of it. I'm also going to do this tile just with the aqua so that you can see the difference between with an underglaze and without. Usi Malpix, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. asks if the PCs and the Celadons can be mixed. And I would not recommend doing that just because the formulations are different. The Celadon line is all one base formula, but the PCs are a lot of different formulas, and I don't really recommend mixing them anyway. And as for mixing Celadons with PCs, you'll get a lot of different reactions, a lot of different color responses, and not all of them would work out the way that I think you're hoping. So I would say probably not. There was another question about using Underglaze, and I didn't catch who asked about using velour black or a different Underglaze instead of obsidian. You can certainly use anything you like. I like using velour black if the texture, if I want every little detail to show up, because the velour black will show a lot more detail. I like the obsidian because it's a little softer looking, but they're just different. But you can also use different colors. So for example, you could use a dark turquoise or a blue-green, like for example, Rainforest Celadon or blue-green Underglaze, and wipe that back and then put something like the aqua over it. So you could end up with a tone on tone instead of just black as a line. So there's a lot of different ways that you can stain things, but the beauty is that with obsidian or any of the other Celadons, since they don't move, you can use them like a stain, and they won't interact in strange ways, but they will stay where you put them. So that's the advantage there. So I know that was really quick. Oh, I did want to show, this is an example of cherry blossom, C50 cherry blossom over the velour black, and it's sgraffito on 38M clay, and you can see, let's see if you can see details of it. You can see in some places the Celadon pooled a little bit, so it's a little pinker in those areas, and it's slightly frosty over some areas of the black Underglaze, but you know, it's a nice contrast with the black and the pink. So that was the velour black Underglaze done as sgraffito with the C50 cherry blossom on a white clay body. And as for how detailed that is, it's a William Morris design, wallpaper design, that I traced onto clear plastic bag and then laid it over and just traced it with a stylus so that it imprinted the clay very slightly, and then I carved it out. Really simple but really beautiful design. So come back at 1:30 if you'd like to see me put another coat of glaze on and clean up the bottom and answer any other questions about Celadon glazes. And I hope to see you guys in another hour. Thanks.